Good evening. First of all, thank you, Ron, for giving me the opportunity to talk a bit about my book with your audience, discussing how to talk to your right side. Now, how to talk to the right side. Now, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm from Central America. I'm a Latino, I'm a Caribbean, I'm Black. And I always call it the three strikes when it comes to homophobia and sexism. I suffered from those decades ago. And one of the things that I did is I taught myself with the help of a whole lot of women and the help from a whole lot of gay folk, how to extricate those sins out of me, if you will. And when I say extricate, that's what I'm talking about. At first, it's mental only. And then it becomes both mental and carnal, such that it becomes your being not to have those prejudices, etc. Why did I start there? I started there because I wanted folks to know that I think for us to be able to be empathetic to others and understand others, we have to be able to be honest within ourselves and realize that within our own selves, we have deficiencies that themselves must be mitigated. And I think it's a journey. For the major flaws that I think I've worked them through. And if someone finds other flaws, I've always been willing to work those through. Now, that is the humility, in my humble opinion, with which we need to address our brothers and sisters on the right. And I know it is very difficult listening to somebody who is really screaming nonsense, who really seems to be the most racist, the most homophobic, all the isms that there are. And many of us have associated that with many of the people on the right, or right brothers and sisters. But let me digress a bit. Because while many of our brothers and sisters on the right have no problem articulating that, yes, in fact, that's how they are, many of us on the left, or many of us in the middle, or otherwise, we are just the same. We just know intellectually that we shouldn't articulate it or that we shouldn't make it known, but deep inside, how many times we are ourselves a passive reflection of those who we judge. That said, I think that is what gives myself and many others the humility to say we have to work together to address the right, to bring the right into the fold, to bring some sort of a togetherness. And that's the reason I wrote this book here. That's the real reason I wrote the book. I'm tired of fighting. And I'm tired of saying that we just can't get along and we need to split. Now, there are a few folks that they are in fact deplorable and they are unredeemable. There are a few of those. But most people all want the same things. Today, in fact, in a Starbucks, I sat down with a Trump voting Republican man. And I looked at him in our conversation and I said, I bet if we go through 20 items, I bet at least 16 of those items we're going to agree on. And more than likely, it's going to be 18. And there's a good chance it's 20. And we started having a long conversation. My daughter was next to me and she just smiled because she knew what was coming. And it turned out that for all the major issues, we agreed on everything. And then he asked, so why do we have this animosity among us? And I said, because it serves a bigger purpose than us. There are those who require us to be at each other's throats so that we don't look at where our problems really are. So again, this is how to talk to your right-wing neighbors. It's worth it. First, get these people to like you, being able to be friendly irrespective of what they're saying. Be the one with that thick skin that when they come at you, you take it because, you know that a lot of where they're coming from is misinformation. And that person who is misinformed, and the way I see it, the way I get through it, is to consider them sick. And if you have a friend that is sick or has a problem in their minds, which a malinformed mind is a mental problem, would you judge them, or would you try to coax them into reality? And that's what I believe in doing. So what I try to do with the book is I try to touch on just about all kinds of things within our economy, within our people, etc. But also, how do we address the right wing? How do we put ourselves in the back and realize that the better good is more important than making the point? I always talk about, I talk a lot because I do radio, but I always talk about when I'm one-on-one with folks, I do a lot of listening first. I let that person see that I'm interested in them and I'm interested in where they are. And in being interested in them and where they are and showing a genuine interest, no matter where they are, whether it's Tea Party type person, whether it's even some folks that I know are categorically racist against me, and we still have the conversation. And when they see that you are actually giving them that time, that respect, it turns out that they many times return that favor. Not all the times. You won't be successful all of the time. So many times they return the favor. And when you start getting into the modal where you can talk about agreeing to disagree, that also works many times. Even if they're not agreeing with you right away, they are giving you the option and they want to find you. I used to stay at Starbucks, and here in Kingwood, Texas, where just about everybody's on the right. And what happens then is the people, they continue to come. If they see my car out there, they want to talk because the respect is there. We build a rapport. We make them like us. They see we're not the caricature that they get on Fox News or otherwise. And that opens the door for discussion, for talking. And if you are talking civilly with somebody, it's hard as hell to hate them. It's hard as hell to not work with them. That's what I try to sort of display in my book. Educational on issues specifically on how to talk to folks, but also to have a certain degree of humility in dealing with the other side. And with that, I hope many of you would consider getting my book because, again, I think it has a value in how to deal with our brothers and sisters. And one of the things I always reference is I make these people always know I consider them my brothers and my sisters. And one of the reasons why I do that is one generally doesn't hurt their brothers and their sisters. So if they start to feel that familiarity with you, you get a hell of a lot more done. You get a hell of a lot more communication. And I hope with that, thank you so kindly for listening. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.